public comment?
I voted for you.
Oh. All right. Without further ado, I think I'll turn it over to Bruce.
Thank you, Mayor. Welcome, Jay, Brooke, Mayor, Jim, everybody. Feel free to interrupt me anytime through this. Basically, I have a handout here that Doug and I formulated based on input from staff and management. So what we'll do is we'll just go through this. These are just some of the highlights of what we're going to be looking at for discussion items for the upcoming budget. Hopefully this will generate some discussion and comments you might have for or favor or against any of it. So feel free to make comments anytime. Wages, we'll start off with July 1st, 2014. As per the union contract, 1% wage increase. Street department, road use tax funded department. First thing there that we would like to discuss, traffic light at First Avenue and Highway 3. Kind of for some discussion as to whether or not council feels like it would favor staff applying for a Iowa DOT TSIP grant for replacement of those lights. We've got some estimates on refurbishing them for, I think, 25 to 30,000. Full replacement, 150,000. These are rough estimates. In visiting with the DOT, there's this TSIP grant possibility that we could apply for. It's a competitive grant, so we have no idea if we would get any funding. But I don't believe that there's a local match for that, right, Doug?
Right.
So just wanted to throw that out there and see what input you've been getting recently on the four-way stop, and if you want to pursue this grant. Go ahead, Dick.
Is that something that we can apply for? If we don't get it, then we can just abandon the project?
Sure.
Project?
Yeah.
The funding wouldn't be available until 2016, and I believe the entry deadline to go ahead and apply is I think August of this upcoming summer. So we wouldn't know, for a while, but yeah. So it'll be another year and a half or so before funding would be available.
Do we have to define what we want to apply for the grant?
Definitely, and quite honestly, just in some of the discussions, and I think they're looking at that if we do something, they're going to want to see something new, more as opposed to, vendor privilege. So it would still better.
Could we fix it and then apply for it and then, because I've had people mention to me that we have two stoplights in this town and we're too poor to fix one. I think we need to get that back to 3 lights or else get rid of that revenue.
And that's up to you guys.
So I was wondering if we applied for this grant now, can we use it to repay money that we spent on it to fix it this summer?
I don't know. I'd have to look into that, Jay.
It is definitely a stop sign there, and we're serious. We're going to stop, see there's a flashing light come to it. To me, it just looks broken. As far as this grant, I think, yeah, if you can apply for that, that's a big concern.
I've had several people comment about being very happy with what's there, but a suggestion of lowering the maintenance costs and what we have there. Right now we have 12 flashing lights. Reducing it down to, rather than having 3 lights flashing each way, reduce it down, take the boxes off the poles and just reduce it down to the one hanging in the center of the street from each direction.
I can ask DOT if that's allowable.
And we have parts for maintenance for the other lights for years then, because we have 12 functional lights now. Get it down to 3. So if we do have a problem, we don't have as much, or to 4. So we don't have as much maintenance.
we can ask DOT if that's something they would go for.
I too got a lot of positive comments on the flashing lights and the four corner stop. A lot of people don't feel that it's worth it to spend that kind of money from the people I've talked to. I agree, Jay, I think it probably would be in the best interest at some point, but I don't think we need to spend $150,000 for a new one. And even if we got the grant, would we get the grant for $150,000? Would it fund the whole thing, the whole project?
Potentially, but the downside to, I think any of it is they're probably gonna use a lot of analysis to determine, you know, how many vehicles are traveling on that road, and quite honestly, I don't
Well,
know that it will.
I can remember when we put the middle school in, we wanted a stoplight on that corner on 12th and 65. And DOT said, well, nobody died there yet.
Yeah, it's tough.
It's kind of the way they look at it.
Yeah, I'm not saying I want to spend $150 either. because
We can sure look at all the options though, and I think that's why it's back on the table, so you guys can talk about, give us the direction, we'll do what you want.
And just to clarify, the estimate of 30 was the structures remain the same, there'd be an infrared sensing device as opposed to a pad sensing device.
Right, and some new guts inside the control panel. Yeah.
So what is it that's broke? Is
The
it
wire,
control panel?
the looping wiring underneath the road and the pavement, or that's in the road and the pavement, that looping is no longer good, and then the control panel components are so old we cannot get new components for those because of the age of it. They would actually, if they refurbish it, would have to, which they've already at this point taken a lot of the guts out of that control panel just to do where we're at now with new components inside the cabinet. So they would actually have to, you know, scrap everything out on the inside of
This
that.
infrared
and-
thing is, never we need any of the wire underneath.
Right.
Send the message.
Right, you wouldn't need the looping then, you could just use that detector on top.
Anything else on that? And then we've talked about other Highway 3 crossing signage or considerations like the library at Federal Street and Highway 3. What are some things there that could be done to improve pedestrian crossing? We've got some pricing on some signs that could go, the skinny 3-foot tall ones that could go right on the center yellow line, warning people that pedestrians, that must yield to pedestrians. We could paint crosswalks and things like that aren't really very expensive items, but it's things that we think about to make the crossings such as that safer for pedestrians.
We still have to follow DOT guidelines or have DOT approval for anything we put in that way, right?
That's correct. Yeah, but I've talked with is it Clark?
Bob Clark.
Bob Clark about those signs that go right on the road. He's okay with them. He's seen them in other communities, and he says they just take a beating from traffic, but he's certainly not against them, and is okay with painting crosswalk lines across the road too. So. Street improvement considerations. As you know, the last bid letting for the current fiscal year street overlay came in over bid, and so at that time the council decided to wait and do a rebidding with a combined 2-year project with fiscal year 14 and 15 combined to do southwest part of town, roughly about 112,000. This would be of pavement and ADA ramps. 58,000 would be from the current year, or 54,000 from the current year, 58, or it's 58 for the current year and roughly 54 for this year, but that's up for discussion. Engineering fees for ADA ramps near overlay streets. We now know that we have to have these ADA ramps at the intersections engineered and redone as part of the overlay project. We've been working with the engineer on getting paperwork prepped and council proceedings ready. He's working on that right now, and probably a springtime we'll be seeing some council action on that. Double chip seal of alleys and heavier traffic and asphalt crack sealing. We've got some We've done some double chip seal of alleys in the community, commercial alleys, and we can talk about maybe some comments or talk to Doug or anybody else who has comments on how they think those are holding up. They're fairly new, but the object of that was to try to address some alley concerns with potholes that don't seem to ever go away. It's something you're constantly fighting. Asphalt crack sealing, we have some full depth asphalt streets in town that are seeing some initial stages of cracks that we think that in order to extend the long-term life and use of those, we should consider doing some crack sealing on those. And general maintenance and facility equipment repairs such as end loader tires, bucket truck certifications, and things like that. Any comments or questions on any of those items?
I've had good comments on that chip seal by especially behind getting going that alley. It looks to me like it's holding up pretty good.
I think we'll know more once the frost comes out
Yeah,
in
I'm
the
thinking the
spring.
same thing.
Is the street department, are they have pretty good income, or are they?
Yeah, they're funded with road use tax funds. That's right. Yep.
So it's like this stuff with the end loaders and that stuff,
It is. Yep. Yep.
Yeah, behind the jail, or the alley of the jail is the guy that cleans the snow for Napa shoves the snow on my yard at the jail, so, and there's almost no gravel in it, so.
Is it there? Well, that's
Must
good.
be. I don't know how many times he's done it, but
That's good.
whereas every year I usually get about 3 buckets of truck bags of gravel. For some reason, they think that's a good place to push snow to, but yeah, there's just a little bit on it now, so that, because I wasn't sure how that would work.
Any other comments? Parks and cemetery, Harriman Park Shelter, exterior staining and sealing. We had budgeted that for last fiscal year and it just didn't get it done. I think we had problems getting a contractor to commit to anything, so we're gonna push that a little harder. It's getting to the point where it needs to be stained and sealed again. Not only doing the enclosed shelter, I think we're also doing one of the 3-sided or 2-sided shelters. We need to look at deer protective materials for young trees. We've had some bucks with their antler rubbing doing quite a bit of damage to young trees, and so we're gonna be more proactive on a program to protect the young trees when we do plant them.
That's cemetery basically that you're talking, right?
Yeah, yeah, because in the parks, I mean, working with the tree board, that's, you guys are doing that.
Yeah, we haven't seen any damage to the trees that we put in last summer.
Yeah, those are the techniques that we're looking to copy for cemetery as well.
Where does the money for the cemetery come from?
General fund. And parks as well. Mower replacement, we've got an old John Deere mower that still runs. We've got a Dixie chopper mower that we've had for a few years that has been kind of a high maintenance piece of equipment. We're kicking around a couple ideas on maybe moving the Dixie chopper to the airport. The airport's in need of a replacement riding lawnmower, and so we're thinking about moving it Dixie out to the airport and replacing the lawnmower for Parks and Cemetery. And then maybe buying one more year with John Deere, but just kind of some of the thoughts we're kicking around. General vehicle and equipment repair and maintenance, other general maintenance, and continued land stewardship program involvement, including tree purchases, working with the tree board. Any questions with parks and cemetery?
Can I interrupt real quick? Christina, are you all, that's Thursday night, you all are doing your presentations, you all know that, right?
Yeah. allowed to come.
Yeah, we know. Thank you. Making you nervous? No, we're just here, just to listen and see what's going on.
Sorry.
You're fine. Thank you.
Aquatic Center, being it's a new facility, there isn't much need. We do have the lobster floatable. That's probably the most popular feature at the Aquatic Center. It's shown some wear and tear. It's developed a couple tears that aren't getting better. We've had some people request that a second floatable feature be installed because the lobster seems to be used and crowded all the time. So just for pricing, they're approximately $5,000 for a floatable feature. Just wanted to know what your thoughts were on that. Some have suggested maybe do fundraising or a corporate sponsor or sponsors to purchase another floatable, or we could look at the possibility of looking for a grant. Also, another need at the Aquatic Center is for lounge chairs. On hot days when it's crowded up there, we're short on chairs, so it's something to think about purchasing too.
What about the security camera that we're talking about?
Yeah, that's a good point, Steve. That in combination with the park, so the Progress Park, there's been discussion in the past of deterring vandalism at the Aquatic Center and park. We haven't had a lot. Fortunately, we've had some with rock throwing and things like that. But we did have an attempted break-in at the pool. The Aquatic Center was at this fall. Last fall.
Yeah, it would have been this last fall.
Yeah.
Both gates have also kind of been sprung a little from someone trying to pry to get the locks open. A couple locks have been stretched up there.
So, I mean, yeah, that's up for discussion too. And we've had presentations in the past on security cameras and high-tech equipment to look over the park and Aquatic Center. So, comments on that?
I think whatever we can do to apply for grants and raise money, we should try to do.
Are you thinking like floatables or security systems, or what do you?
Well, I think trying to find what grants are available, like Community Foundation wouldn't be able to pay for a security system, but they might possibly consider funding a floatable or part of a floatable. But there might be some other grants out there, like you have the TSIP grant. I mean, not for the security camera, but there might be other grants out there that would be possible to apply for, or foundations.
Okay.
Even like I said, fundraising.
Any comments towards security, moving forward with security cameras or things like that?
I'm recalling, wasn't that $10,000 or $12,000, something like that, the estimate?
Eight.
Eight.
Of course, it might be up to 10 by now. Prices seem to be going fast, but it's expensive.
What do we break in there, what's in there?
More or less, kind of.
The only place that we have a supply of anything would be in the concession area. And basically, all they're gonna get is candy and stuff. And there's very little, hardly any money overnight. I don't
The
think.
sad part is they can do a lot more damage just breaking stuff to try to get in there where they can get their candy bar or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, the structure itself is pretty solid and pretty secure, but the other thing is, we've had the problems with throwing rocks and stuff and different things over the gate at night after we close. Basically, vandalism is the biggie. If some of the rocks get down in those pumps, eventually, which we have a good main drain screen, but even a little bit of grit that gets down there, there's really not much tolerance on the pumps that pump the water for the recirculation system. It wouldn't take much to really screw one of those pumps up, and they're not real cheap to fix or replace.
agree with Jim, I think the floatable idea is great, but if it's wearing out already, it's wearing out. Fundraising is a good place to start with that, fundraising and grants.
Time goes so fast, how old is that pool?
2011 was his first year.
And there's not a warranty on those levels.
We had a 2-year warranty on the construction of it.
I'm sure it's always covered. I wouldn't know though, something like on the ground, it's lawn chairs covered.
There is
Well, you
a
experienced
second,
that too?
there is a second bracket that's already in place as well, that's already in the floor, so we wouldn't have to do anything as far as putting an anchor to the floor, because there's already one available. They put that in there just in case we did it for ad in the future.
And I'm sure we could spend a lot more than $5,000 on a floatable if we really wanted to too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's some really expensive, cool ones there.
Moving on to City Hall, really nothing, no major remodeling being proposed. We do want to continue with computer upgrades, and we'll look at one more computer replacement.
No water fountain in the budget.
I decided that I would just go ahead and purchase that and see what your reaction is.
That's what I said. I'm gonna say, poor Ralph.
The water fountain that's here doesn't cool.
Doesn't cool the water.
Right.
Get it cold and wrestle. It's cold all the time.
It'd be cheaper to just replace that. Pay your monthly to come in. I suggest that.
Wow.
Unless they sell water. They sell water everywhere.
Well, we have our own city. I think it's like $500 to replace that. We won't. Everybody's pretty quiet on
I can mention bottled water.
Okay. Code enforcement, want some input on demolition of blight of the nuisance properties. There's a number of properties out there that are eyesores and have been foreclosed on and abandoned and bothersome to neighbors and things like that. So kind of wondering, you're looking at what, 15,000, Doug, or 10, 15,000
10 to
per
13 per.
get rid of them and get them back to a condition where we can sell them.
Not including legal fees.
Yeah. It's just with asbestos inspection and abatement.
Excavation.
You were doing what, 2-year? Or one year?
Well, we did, yeah.
We did 3 last year, didn't we?
I think so. Thing is it's general fund money, and you get a lot of departments vying for those funds, and so it's those deals where
Well, we're almost committed with at least, to do at least 1 or 2-year.
Most of the property owners are responsible for.
well, there's, we've run into many different scenarios. A couple that we're looking at now are foreclosures, and the lender that, one of them's still in the property owner's name, even though they don't own it anymore, it's been foreclosed on, but the mortgage holder didn't ever hold a sheriff's sale, and so property owner's name is still on it, but they don't have any interest in it, so they're not gonna go and put any money into it. So it's just kind of hanging out there, and no one's doing anything with them. So that's,
Once we tear them down, then the city owns the property, or can the property owner say, I got a nice little lot there, I'm gonna sell it.
Well, I had one lot this year where we got a court order to demo, that was still owned by a property owner. And what we do then is we got the court order, so then we demoed it, and then we abated all the costs to their taxes for that, that goes to that property. We've had them where if the property owner is around and they have any assets, city attorney can actually go after them. Once they learn that the city has that authority, they usually work with us a little bit and tear those down. But then on the ones like Ron's talking about, these foreclosed ones, we typically will go after them. The best way is for us to take ownership of those, and then we own the property, and then we're out that money, basically, because the lots are, we sell the lots, and we're kind of taking in the shorts for
Yeah, the last
remainder.
two most recent ones we sold we got $1,000 or $1,200 or $1,100 for, so it's costly to the city.
And this is a big topic every year about the League of Cities. I think for those who've been there, and those who haven't, when you get a chance, we're not the only community faced with this after what the economy's been doing with the foreclosures past few years. It's tough business, and it's a big money business, and the cities usually end up on the losing end of it, unfortunately. And the neighbors, they're not winning either. So it's a tough
But we
deal.
can, we can include in the budget, maybe 15,000. Use those numbers on a preliminary basis and at least get one done fiscal year. We can include that and see if we want to do more. We can see how the not really. We've got probably 4 that are in dire need right now.
Fire burners in the fire department too, right?
Well, it depends on, I think it depends on if there's shingles on the roof or not. If there's no shingles, I think they can do as many as they want, but if there's shingles on, they can't. But there's asbestos inspection and abatement that you have to consider, and that gets expensive. And hire a contractor after it's been burned all the way to debris and fill it, seed it, get it ready to sell. It's expensive. When we get down here to the police department, police, fire, airport, park, cemetery, it's all general fund, and you go setting aside $30,000, $40,000 to take care of a blighted property. We're trying to buy police cars and lawnmowers. It's a balancing act that we have to try to figure out.
Ron?
Yeah.
We don't have a priority list on those at this point.
Why?
We had kind of been working with a priority list, or at least, we had identified what we were gonna do last year. We don't.
I have a list, and some letters have gone out where Mike Crosside sent some letters out. One of the properties, as you were well aware of, was the one south of Hardee's. But that's been working on some other avenues on how to approach that one. But we have one on 3rd Street Northeast, would be in the, I think, 600 block of 3rd Street Northeast. And that's definitely a priority for me, because I know that spurred probably the most complaints of anybody. I believe Larry Spear has been very adamant neighbor there. And at one time, one of the neighbors up there was looking at the property, but that's been a couple of years now, and no one's doing anything. The other thing with these is we could budget for them, and maybe budget for one, but I can't guarantee you that all the legal work can be done necessarily in 12 months, but I already have some of the paperwork in place where I've already sent some notices out. We haven't hammered anything because of funding. That's why we don't drive home these a little bit until we for sure know where we're at, and then I can work with the city attorney on that one property and say, okay, pull the trigger on this one, let's go through the legal process to obtain that property. And then that's when the city attorney kicks into action what he has to do. It's a long process, because they have to notify, there might be 20, 30 liens on that property. There might be, it might have switched banks during the foreclosure process, where other bank has switched hands 2 or 3 times and took the note. So it's a lengthy process, but I'm pretty comfortable on that one. We can try to get one done this next year. If the funding's there, I think we could just give the city attorney the go ahead, let's get after it.
There was one more property that I think Brian Miller was maybe involved with, that's out involved by the hospital,
Windsor, yep, and
Drive, the Traeger property.
And that's one that I haven't been involved with. The city attorney's been working on that one. Has been a different one. I'm not the one that has actually went to that property and play carded it or anything. I think the county or somebody else must have done that. But it is non-livable. But the other one that we've been working on would be the property on 7th Street northeast, just, southwest, and it would be just south of the American, off 7th Street southwest, just south of the American.
Was there one on Federal South too?
I believe there's one on Federal South as well. I understand that one was gonna go for sheriff's auction a couple different times and still hasn't. That's an unfortunate one because I think with a little foundation work, that one could be brought back to life, but nonetheless, it's not livable as it sits.
But we don't have any that we actually have possession of right now, correct?
So if a bank owns these, how are they not responsible for following city ordinance? Is it just because it's a big league?
Well, it gets complicated when the federal government does a program where they'll, Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac will buy a package of bad loans and on properties and there's no human that you can talk to. I spent a whole day on one of these properties trying to figure out who, and you just can't talk to a human, and it's a mess. It's honestly a frustrating mess.
They're red tape nightmares, even for legal.
I know.
When they do title searches and opinions on those.
On those, I think probably about the only thing is is for the city to go through the courts to take ownership and then either tear it down or work with a neighbor. One thing we'd like to see is have a neighbor, take it over and improve property and not have the city have to do it with taxpayer money, but that doesn't always happen.
Vern Sanders was a good example of that here about a year ago. He got a property on 9th Place, northeast. And
Right next to the rat's nest.
yeah, thanks to that one. He actually took care of that one, but I mean, it actually saves the city money.
Looks nice too.
It does, yeah.
That cost him around $5,000, between $4,000 and $5,000.
Is it because he's private or why does it cost the city 15?
They don't have to do the asbestos abatement. It's because we're a municipality, it's law, and we have to have it inspected, and that's sometimes to the tune of about $4,000. Sometimes the abatement then goes on a little bit higher. When we have some time, feel free to come in. I can show you some files and show you just kind of exactly how much some of that's cost us over the years. And I keep all that on hand just to refer to, but it's just not a cheap proposition for a municipality as opposed to a private individual.
You know, but deeper than that, these places have that property. So who owned the one?
We can't offer it because we don't own it.
Who owned the one? But if we have taxes aren't being paid, ordinances aren't being followed, there's gotta be.
We could probably acquire it through the courts and
Right.
then approach the neighbor, you're saying.
Yeah, and then let him burn it down for 4,000 instead of us spending 15, and he's got a nice double yard that he can enjoy. Well, Brenda does. I think spending $15,000 on burning down a house, is that one that's up here on the corner next to the Teos or Telos? Is that one that was with the city? It's right on the corner, it burned down last year.
What address?
On 6th Avenue
It's right
North.
before you go into the railroad track bridge.
That was a court order. We had a court order for that one, and then we had to assess it. So we didn't take ownership of that one.
Which Urbina?
No, that would have been the one that Henderson sold, and went
I
to.
think you're talking about North of Godfathers, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that
Oh,
we did
okay,
this
yeah,
one.
that's the Urbino,
That's just-
yeah. We own
Yeah.
that one.
Yeah,
So you guys spent 15,000?
well, I don't know if it's exactly 15,000.
Roughly, you guys spent the money to level it?
Yes,
And then
ready,
somebody bought it for $1,000?
11 or 1,200.
Yeah.
And they got plans or?
There's bids on
and
it.
sold it?
Well, there's limited use to what they can do with it.
That's why I think if you, someone get ownership and ask a neighbor if you want to build a yard, I'm sure that I would. If I had a house like that next to my house, I'd take it a second for whatever it cost it.
That's what's happening with the house south of Hardy's right now. There's negotiations with the neighbor to the east. If he follows through, I just talked to Doug about that the other day, if he follows through on that one, he'll tear it down and build a garage there and expand his home in the big garage that he presently has. So there's hope for that. And he's figuring it's gonna cost him about $3,000, and by the time he does the asbestos abatement, whether he hauls it away or whether he burns it down, the burn down is about $1,500.
I believe that's
the
what the fire department charges.
So he'll have about $3,000, $3,000 to $4,000.
That's the direction I'm going. I'm like, there's here. See, got one right next to his house.
Just one house away.
Oh, that's right, yeah, you're right.
We've been waiting on that, because one neighbor did show interest, but like I said.
Yeah, actually, you're right, yeah.
He
that
showed a
one.
little interest, and then he pulled out, and they showed a little interest, and so it's like, we get this wavering back and forth, and nothing gets done.
The city slid him $4,000 to do it. The city's not doing, I mean, if you gave him a tax break or if you gave him some kind of a, because then you maybe wouldn't have to come up with 4,000, but the city would still be 11 to 10, 11, 12,000 better off if you just, why then maybe we're just legal.
Well, yeah, we have to, I mean, we have to follow the legal process.
There's gotta be taxing, I mean, there's all kinds of city tax stuff that you, I mean, if you live next to a quick building like that, it would be not very enjoyable. But anyway.
Airport FAA grant project for re-roofing and repainting of the South Orange hangar, $144,000 total cost. That's 90% FAA grant, 10% local match. We talked about possible hand-me-down local mower replacement from parks and cemetery and other general maintenance. Any comments on the airport? Water department shop needs to be re-roofed. Estimate that we've gotten is $9,000. High service pump. Doug, I should probably let you go through these things.
Okay. Yeah, the roof is leaking. If you remember, a couple years ago, we re-roofed the water plant. However, what we're proposing to do here is the shop building, which is basically like a whole building type structure that's leaking water pretty fierce. And we looked into this. We talked to a local contractor, Payne's Roofing, and in that discussion, it was to re-tin it, we wouldn't get any warranty. However, we did put up the rubber bladder roof on top of those. That would come with some warranty, and that was $9,000. So it's actually a little bit more than tinning, but at least we would get some warranty on it, and probably longer life expectancy. High service pump maintenance. This is something we do once every 5 years. We pull 2 pumps. We have a company come in, we'll shop it around a little bit, and they'll pull 2 of our pumps. They'll go through those, they'll go through the motors, check the windings, and check everything. And that is basically, they're very important. We have 4 high service pumps at our water treatment facility, and if you lose 1 or 2, it makes it awful hard on the other 2. So we're free, depending on how it goes. So in order to keep those maintained appropriately, we've been doing it every 5 years, 2 every 5 years. We also do the city wells on a cycle that way as well. CL17 machine at well number 3. In our most recent inspection done by the DNR, it was indicated that we have to do a little bit more inspecting when we utilize a little bit more testing when we utilize well number 3 in the CL17 machine. It's a device that helps us do that testing. We have one shop garage door need a replacement, and that would be at the same shop that's leaking a little bit of water. We've replaced the other 2. This is the last one of those 3, so we shouldn't need any after this one. Our radio read adapters, proposed to buy another 100 this year. This has been an ongoing program that we've been doing for a few years now. This is, we've now gone from about 2 guys, 3 days of reading meters down to 2 guys and just a little bit of a day. But this is also helps us speed up the meter reading. It's good technology. It's been affordable technology for us. It's saved us some time and money. And in turn, it's also saved us a little bit where we've had some staff members, like days like today, trying to go out and read a meter is a little bit difficult, whereas with the readers, they can utilize vehicles and drive most of the route now, so that's good. And we're getting close. I think we have about 800 more to go, and then we should have the entire community completed. Water main replacement in the southwest. For those of you that have been here, brought in a piece of pipe here over the last couple of years. We continue to have water main breaks, and it would be in the basically the 500, 600, and 700 block between 6th Street, 7th Street Southwest, or 7th and 8th Street Southwest. We've been tearing these people's backyards up consistently with water main breaks for the past couple, 2-3 years. And we've had numerous breaks, and we feel that is probably the worst stretch of water main that we have in the community, and it's in desperate need of replacement. We did last year budget to have the project engineered, and I'm currently working with an engineering firm to get that project designed. This is just an engineering estimate at $106,000. I believe we'll come in under that, but it's not an easy open trench type excavate through these backyards because there's sheds and garages all built near the easement stuff in these backyards on this. So we're proposing to do a trenching. You're still going to have to have open trenches to tie in the service lines, but it still will not be as harmful to people's backyards as this boring will be. So the boring we feel is the best scenario and way to do this project.
Doug, would you describe the area you're covering on this again?
Yeah, we have 600 feet, and I believe where we're at is between, it would be between 7th Avenue and 5th Avenue Southwest. And it's in the backyards, so it would be then between between 7th and 8th Street. They jut out a little bit over there, not southwest but yeah, it'd be in the same neck of the woods as like the trailer court back in the southwest area.
So it's just one line of water main?
Yep, just one line of water main. We'll install a couple fire hydrants and a couple valves and run new water line. And plus the water line that we're replacing is a 4-inch, which does us absolutely not near as good as it once did for fire protection. You will be upgraded to a 6-inch. That way, when we do expand and replace main on down the road, then we're keeping up with the fire protection that we need.
Else on that? Yeah, we've been using up a little bit of their fund balance. Last fiscal year, we did a water tower interior painting, rehabilitation of that. That was $175,000. But we do have a healthy fund balance, and you need one because paint the interior costs $175,000. So
14 footers. Yeah, there's 3.
Well, no, that is for one door.
Yeah, that's for one door.
But
We've already done this too.
This is a budget number, we're on the high side. We, of course, we won't spend it if we don't have to.
And it's an insulated door. No windows.
What building is this on, the one out here?
Water treatment or water shop. It'd be out by the airport.
Concrete.
And love to take you two guys when you're ready. Let me know to a little tour of all the departments. That way you guys can kind of see where we're at, what we got
Be
going
down
on.
here. We'll do it during the day.
What do you mean you'll be done here in a little bit? Leaving early? Wastewater department, just last week I requested our engineer send me an updated project timeline for the wastewater treatment plant bid letting and construction. Last we had heard it was February 2014 bid letting, but I'm not sure if we're still on target with that, but haven't heard from him. He's putting that together. Again, that's our major project upcoming, and the final plans are complete, submitted to the DNR for final approval on that, and spring bid letting and construction beginning this summer, so that'll be part of this budget. And then also, we've been doing some sewer main relining in some of our aged infrastructure, proposing $35,000 for more relining of sewer mains. And they share in radio read purchases too, since we're reading for sewer department billing as well. And 100 of those for $12,000. General maintenance. The bulk would be the wastewater treatment plant project. Yes.
Doug, the 800 you mentioned, is that subtracting just 200 and we'll be down to 600 after this year?
I'd have to double check, but I think we're gonna be close to 600-700, because these are rough numbers, because it'll change how many meters and stuff we have out every year, but that'll get us close, yeah.
We have 1,700 and some meters out there active. That's a rough number, that's not exact, but in that neighborhood. Fire department, visit with fire chief. He doesn't recommend any changes to the budget for next fiscal year, so we'll we bring the budget to you, a proposed budget. We'll be showing probably numbers same as he has in the current fiscal year. The only thing that they've been working on purchasing is replacing the self-contained breathing apparatuses that are the air packs that the firemen use. These older ones that they have are no longer, if something goes wrong, they can't be repaired. They're just like everything else. They're being upgraded for government regulations. And so I think in the current fiscal year, we budgeted $15,000. They're $5,000 a piece, so he's been budgeting to get 3 each fiscal year. And then they had they were willed some money, $10,000, so we were able to purchase a couple extra in the current fiscal year. So that's probably the big items that they're working on upgrading is the breathing tanks. Police department. We've got,
Can I ask
yes.
one question? That 35,000, just giving an idea, or Jay was contributing to it. Southwest part of town, again, that's our worst area, right?
Yes.
The most penetration that we have from groundwater going into our sewer system.
That's correct.
And that's where we're spending that money, to eliminate that from traveling all the way through the system.
This all stems from, we did a televising initiative, I believe we started that around 2010, where we hired a company to come in and televise the entire southwest quadrant. And during that process, it's like a colonoscopy. They go through all the mains. And we'll look through basically all those, and we've identified the very worst areas which we've started to tackle in the last few years, and we keep kind of chipping away at all these bad areas. We actually uncovered about $300,000 worth of work that was possible that we did. We started out doing a grouting technique, and then we found that it costs a little bit more to do lining, but the lining is so much better for that little bit more. You're actually getting something that's going through this clay pipe. Well, basically, even if the clay pipe gets fully deteriorated around it, the actual liner itself can act as a standalone pipe. So that's where, and it's been the least amount of intrusiveness to people and other infrastructure, like roads, because we're not excavating the road to replace this main or anything. But they actually go into a manhole and they'll shove this liner for a block, pop it through. They have a little machine that goes in there and cuts out all the service connections as we go. And that is the worst place that we have I&I in the community, and that's why we started in the Southwest. We discovered that 2008 floods, 2010. Some more information on that. Besides the televised initiative, we figure we're going to get done with that. We'll go on and televise another quadrant of the community after we get pretty well done with the southwest part of town. But we've actually, made a lot of improvements so far. The last few rain events haven't been as significant as what we've had in the past, but we've had some, and the issues aren't as bad. But the other thing to keep in mind is we're not doing laterals, which is also a big place where you get infiltration but that's a service line, and each resident is responsible for their own service line. So we're not doing the service lines, but we're taking care of this in the city's portion.
Police Department. The current fiscal year, we've got one officer going to Law Enforcement Academy. He'll be leaving, I think, January, right, Chief?
Yes, he
So-
is there today.
Okay, so that's like $5,000 to $6,000.
Yes.
And so we'll be reducing the training line item just because we won't be training an officer the next fiscal year, hopefully. And replacement of a patrol car. We've got rough numbers. I guess I'll turn it over to the chief with some preliminary thoughts on the car situation.
What I was looking at was a Ford Interceptor. Some of you might not know, but we have had, in my opinion, nothing but problems with that Charger since we got it. And I'm really disappointed in that because I like the car itself. About almost 4 weeks ago, next week, Wednesday, it will be 4 weeks. We had a water pump that we found was leaking, and we contacted Chrysler. They don't have the part, and they haven't had the part. I just got an email from their division today saying that they were supposed to be in the warehouses and then being distributed out to the different dealers after that. So it's been, it's a good time that it's, winter time because we're driving Explorers anyway, but it's been sitting out at the airport for almost 3.5 weeks waiting for a water pump to be put in. So, lower control arm we've replaced that twice. Had to replace the ball joints after, 40,000 miles. It's, tire wear because of the suspension. We had an issue with that right away when we got the first set of tires put on it, and we're on our, I think it's the third set of tires on it. Check engine lights on. I'm not sure what that is. I called the dealership and told them when we bring it in for the water pump, we need to check and see what that is. So it just seems like it's been one thing after another with that car. And then the unavailability of what I call a part that ought to be out there, and there is no aftermarket. They don't make the aftermarkets for them because, from what I've been told, is that the car dealers or the car manufacturers hold on to the patents longer so that they're the only ones that can replace the parts. So, but then there isn't any parts available. So that's where we've been at with that. So what I was looking at was a Ford Interceptor, which is about $3,000 to $5,000 cheaper than what the new Caprice is. The Caprice also is a rear-wheel drive vehicle instead of all-wheel drive. The Interceptor is all-wheel drive. I have talked with Iowa Falls because they do have some as far as problems that they've had with it, and they have not had any problems with that vehicle. What I try to do is look for a vehicle that hopefully is going to be the same body style for a certain length of time, so we're not jumping around going from one car to another, because when you do that, cages don't fit, push bumpers don't fit, consoles don't fit, and you're looking at about $1,500 to $2,000 for those items to have to change those when you go and get a new vehicle. The Ford Interceptor all-wheel drive is $23,655. That is with some of the additions that I looked at that I felt that we should have on there. Heated mirrors is one of them. Another one is they drill the headlights at the factory so that you can put strobes into them because they no longer have the wig-wag headlights. So that would be another add. The keyless entry would be another one. And just incidentals like that. I think the base on it was 23,100 and something, if I remember.
73 or so.
Yeah. So that's where it comes to as far as the 23,655. The install, the one install quote that I got, that I felt was decent because they went through it with me. I asked another person or another outfit for a quote, and they sent me a quote that they had given to Halbert Lake Police Department, and then I had to go through and subtract out what I thought that we needed subtracted out. And I'm not sure we're comparing apples to apples with that quote. But the quote that I did get was from Keltec, which is in Baxter, Iowa. That quote, and again, we might be able to get it less than this, was $8,402.85. So that would be a total of $32,057.85. That includes light bar, a new controller, because the light bar that is on the car that I hope to replace, which is the Crown Vic, is an old style light bar. When we had an issue with that bar, we actually took the controller out of the light bar that we had upstairs and we've taken off the other Crown Vic, because that controller would have been $950. A new light bar is $1,400. So that's part of the reason why we're going with a new light bar on this one, because that light bar has to be at least as old as that squad car is, and that's a 2007 squad car. So that's a new controller, a console, gun rack for both an AR and also the shotgun, the partition, push bumper, and then the rest of the equipment is the equipment that we currently have in the car as far as the radio, the camera, the radar, and that stuff all goes, basically just gets switched over. So, one of the things that, and this is, I'm just going to throw it out there for you. I want you to know what we have for vehicles and what we have for mileage on them. Unit 1, which is the one that we would like to replace, has around 156,000 miles on it. That car actually got driven last year, 16,150 miles. The Charger has approximately 64,000, and that was driven 20,951 miles. Unit 3, the Explorer, which we took the decals off of, which we also use as a school car for anybody that needs to go to meetings as far as city employees and whatever use that vehicle. That was driven 13,493 miles and has about 75,000 miles on it. And Unit 4 was driven 20,660 miles, and it has approximately 65,000 miles on it.
What is Unit 4?
Unit 4 is the